Migingo is the most densely populated island in the world. A small island no larger than half a football field. Just 5 minutes on foot to walk around its perimeter. Every inch of land has been used for housing. The houses are built tightly together, like fish scales pressed against each other without a gap. Here, rusted tin roofs touch one another, windows face windows, and narrow alleys can only fit one person at a time. Yet Migingo is not an ordinary island. It is home to thousands of people, fishermen, traders, police officers, border guards, and bar owners. They all live shoulder to shoulder in a noisy harmony, full of market shouts, the hum of generators, and laughter from bar patrons. But beneath this lively and crowded life lies a lingering geopolitical drama between Kenya and Uganda. Migingo sits in Lake Victoria, the largest lake in Africa, stretching over 68,000 square kilometers and crossing the borders of Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. In the vastness of this lake lies Migingo Island, a mere rocky bump on the water. Geographically, it may seem insignificant, but economically and politically, it holds a crucial role. Migingo measures just about 2,000 square meters. Statistically, this makes it one of the most densely populated islands in the world, with a population of 500 to 1,000 people, depending on the fishing season, and a total area of just 2,000 square meters. The island's population density can reach up to 500,000 people per square kilometer, a number that far exceeds the world's most crowded cities like Manila and Dhaka. From a distance, the island looks like a floating fortress. Layered tin houses fill every space. Wooden boats dock on every edge, and 2 national flags wave side by side in the center. The homes here are made of tin, wood, and whatever materials can resist the wind and rain. They are built tightly together, pressed like a makeshift puzzle born out of necessity and survival. Some homes even hang over the water, supported by wooden stilts driven into the rock. There are only 1 or 2 public toilets on the island, built over the lake, discharging directly into the water. Clean water is scarce. Electricity comes only from personal generators. There's no permanent hospital, only a small clinic that is more often closed than open, yet life goes on. Migingo never knows silence. If the day is filled with the hustle and bustle of economic activity, the night brings a completely different world. Music starts thumping from tiny bars. Dim lights begin to glow, marking the start of a sleepless night. The island has several bars that stay open nearly all night. Not fancy bars, but tin shacks with wooden benches, old radios, and cabinets filled with bottles of local liquor. Still, these bars are the heart of the community. A fisherman who returns with a big catch might celebrate here, buying beer, inviting friends, and maybe even paying everyone's tab. Bar owners know their regulars. And like big cities, nightlife brings gossip, friendship, rivalry, and even romance. Migingo is like a miniature city compressed into a single alley. Everything you find in a city, commerce, entertainment, politics, crime, and even religious debates, happens here, just in a much smaller space. With thousands living on Migingo, basic needs like education and healthcare become a luxury. But as always, humans find ways to survive. There is no permanent school on Migingo. However, a few volunteer teachers have open informal classes in their homes. They teach children to read, write, and do basic math. Books are shared, makeshift chalkboard are used, and class times follow the lake's tides. Children on Migingo grow up in a harsh environment, but they mature faster. They learn arithmetic from the fish market. They know wind direction, storms, and fish seasons without ever reading a geography book. Their lessons come from real life, tough but full of meaning. Health is another major issue. As mentioned, the island only has 1 small clinic, often lacking medicine. In emergencies, patients must be transported by boat to mainland Kenya, a trip that can take hours, depending on the weather. Some never survive the journey, yet the community is warm. When someone falls ill, neighbors care for them. When a baby is born, the entire alley knows and comes to offer congratulations. Doctors may not always be present, but solidarity is there every day. So what keeps thousands of people willing to live under such tight and limited conditions? The answer is hope for a better life. Most residents understand that on land, there are no jobs. That's why many people come to Migingo from poor villages in Kenya or Uganda, where farming often fails and opportunities are scarce. On Migingo, even though it's small, people can work, eat, and even save for the future. The waters around Migingo are known as some of the richest fishing grounds in Lake Victoria, especially for a large predator fish known as Nile perch or barramundi. It's a highly valuable commodity in international export markets. The area's depth and nutrient content make it ideal for fish breeding. That's why Migingo is a magnet for fishermen from Kenya, Uganda, and even Tanzania. Though small, Migingo lies in one of East Africa's most sensitive regions. Kenya and Uganda both claim ownership of the island. The dispute began in 2004 when Ugandan authorities deployed armed police on the island. Kenya protested, citing colonial-era British maps that placed Migingo within its borders. Uganda, however, insisted it was theirs, arguing that Ugandan fishermen settled there first and that they had the right to maintain security. This dispute sparked serious tension. At one point, the Kenyan flag was taken down and replaced with Uganda's. There were even reports of Ugandan police arresting Kenyan fishermen. Yet instead of escalating into war, the two nations chose a long, winding path of diplomacy. Today, the island remains crowded with Kenyans, alongside Ugandan security presence. They live side by side, or more precisely, they watch each other within tight, uncertain spaces. The people of Migingo live under ambiguous laws. Sometimes Kenyan law applies. Other times it's Ugandan law. In some cases, both countries enforce their own rules simultaneously, arresting violators at their own discretion. Imagine two officers from different nations, both patrolling the same 1-meter wide street, both armed, both in uniform, both claiming they're protecting their territory. Yet they don't compete openly. They greet each other. They drink at the same bars. They cooperate when fights break out at night. Migingo lives under two authorities. Some say this is a burden, but others find it beneficial. With both governments vying for favor, aid and infrastructure sometimes arrive in double. In one way, it feels like dual occupation. In another, like dual subsidy. In this absurd reality, the people of Migingo grow used to legal uncertainty. They don't really care who governs, as long as they can fish and sell their catch. To outsiders, Migingo is an anomaly, but to sociologists and anthropologists, it's a social laboratory, a micro-universe showing how humans can coexist in tight spaces. Despite differences in nationality, ethnicity, and language, Kenyans and Ugandans here live side by side without fences. They sell goods next to each other, marry across borders, and raise families together. Their children grow up unaware that two nations are fighting over the very land they play on. Migingo proves that national identity can blur when survival outweighs patriotism. It symbolizes that brotherhood can grow not from sameness, but from shared purpose, the will to endure. In many ways, Migingo is a portrait of the modern world. Dense, complex, full of friction, yet functioning because of shared interests and a spirit of compromise. While many nations fail to build tolerance, Migingo shows us that humanity can find balance, even within just 2,000 square meters.